friends, welcome back to the channel. Today we are once again building in Wishblossom Ranch in the Glamour Gulch biome, creating possibly my largest filler build yet. This build strictly contains all of the Glamour Gulch modular kit buildings without using any other premium shop house skins and character houses. This build strictly contains all of the Glamour Gulch modular kit buildings without using any other premium shop house skins and character houses. These modular kits are game changers when it comes to filling up a large space, allowing me to create nearly a life-sized city that is chic and glamorous. If you would like to see how this was made, keep on watching. The part that took the longest was definitely creating a layout for the city. I'm going for a sort of skyscraper city block vibe, so it is both linear and should have a few turns to get where you want to go. I am at the entrance right now of this particular area in the Modish Marsh, which is where I will begin my city layout. The goal here is to maximize the space that we use while making it accessible to all of the rock nodes and fishing areas. I start with the big Taboel entry pieces as far left and as far right as I can possibly go, just to see the space that I am working with here. And when I tell y'all that I scraped my city like 3 times before finalizing the layout, it is no joke. Luckily you can just see me at my prime when I had already figured it out, but it was definitely rough. I'm going to use the bordered asphalt pathing as the main road, and like a real city, I am trying to make blocks using the placement of the road to determine where my city buildings will land. Right where the middle road is where I will make the first 2 blocks, and I use the big entry pieces once again with some smaller wing buildings to create these fake city buildings. When making a city with the kit, I find that it looks more realistic when you merge the building pieces together in different ways, just so that each block feels a bit different. Once I have both sides laid out, I add an additional road on both sides, which is going to help create more turns and thus make walking around it feel more city-like. In the middle here, I actually start carving out this really large square area with the alpine cobblestone pathing. This area is going to be more of a city square with a central fountain, food stalls, and live entertainment, so I wanted to use a different path to indicate a change in scene. As I make the square shape, I'm also bringing up that road we had earlier and adding more buildings. Like I mentioned already, I combine the buildings in different ways, and I try hard to not make things too symmetrical, as that will take away from the realism of it. I also make sure to add smaller roads pivoting towards the walls of the biome for when I add more buildings. I start to introduce some new buildings, and so here I will start to use the Scarlet Bell Tower. If you are making a city with these kits, I would highly recommend mixing in shorter buildings with the taller ones, because when you have multiple tall structures together, it can fall flat and break the immersion of a true city. Now at the top left, I wanted to do something a little bit different but also subtle, so I am taking the road diagonally back down to the square before straightening it once more to surround the area inside. On the top right corner, I do also add a diagonal path, but pretty soon you will see that it didn't work out, and so that ends up being a straight road in the end. But with the road, we continue to draw it straight to the right while adding a couple different side roads, and finally connecting the road at the bottom. Inside the city square, first make sure to fill in all of the pathing with that cobblestone. I'm going to use this fountain since it can be easily crafted in Glamour Gulch, but there are also a couple of these just hanging around the biomes if you don't want to craft it. This area is actually a little more symmetrical with the buildings, contrary to what I said before, but I am creating a cluster of buildings on each corner and using the Taboel gates on all 4 sides for easy entry. Kind of pivoting really quickly, I really didn't want to keep building roads and buildings all the way through, so an easy way to take up space is a huge lake. I used the Neverland River Kit pieces, using the road as a bridge to break it up. I bring it as close as I can to the natural river, and you will definitely be able to still fish there no matter where you stand. It was right around here when I realized that that second diagonal road just wasn't going to work out, so here I am just showing you how I correct that mistake. I decided to put the well in that top left corner using the Alice in Wonderland skin because it kind of matches the biome vibe. I continue to frame the area with more buildings, and it's hard to tell here, but I use an entry piece next to the well since that will actually be the main exit towards Pixie Acres. I use the angle of the road to also shape these buildings and making it look a little nicer by connecting them seamlessly by the corners. I also thought those bell towers looked better in the starting area, and so I switched those out. I had totally forgotten about the cast iron greenhouse pieces, so I put those down in some empty spaces. By the water, I did leave enough space for you to reach that rock node, just in case you were wondering. I'm going to finally keep walling in the city area, putting more buildings in front of the water to create a long side street. I also border the water with these wrought iron gates. I use another kind of fencing for the bridge. You can use this as I am, but I do actually change it out later on. underneath all of the buildings, I am going to fill it in with some of that Glamour Gulch stone slate pathing to act as a sidewalk. The entrance was looking a little empty, but I couldn't fit any buildings to sort of fill it in, and so instead I layer a bunch of these gated arches, and surprisingly it turned out really well. Now past the water, I am just creating a more simple street, and I actually do replace those fences with the monochrome gates in the bridge. This area definitely seems a little nicer than the main city, using a mixture of the shorter and taller buildings and even adding some hedges. For all of the finishing touches, I am decorating the areas with some small details, starting with the city square. You will see each area reflect the city life and keeping it more on the low-key side, since I think it'll make it easier for you to gallop through with your horses. My favorite details in this segment are probably all of the automobiles scattered around, and the tunnel with the lady and the tramp tables overlooking the water. Additionally, you'll notice that I also place more gated arches in front of certain buildings, and that's just to show you where all of the hidden rock nodes and entryways are. Anyway, once you complete all of the details, you are done. hope you liked this video and enjoyed the speed build. To me, this build definitely paid off because I absolutely love walking around here. It is the most city-like build I think I've ever made in this game, and it was all possible without using a single premium house skin. If you liked the video, be sure to like, subscribe, and I will see you all the next time. Bye!